Ladies and gentlemen, in this RedGaming.com video, we're going to be taking a look at the frame rate analysis of the PlayStation 4 versus the Xbox One on Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. This is with, of course, the launch day patch applied, and so the frame rates are currently the best they can be on the consoles. So overall, the two experiences are pretty damn close, as I've mentioned in another in-depth graphical analysis. You can check that out in the link below. The PlayStation 4's resolution is of course higher natively than Xbox One, but for the most part the Xbox One does in the single player do a slightly better job at maintaining the 60 frames per second mark. Now obviously in gameplay this can vary depending on what's going on screen at once. You should of course always remember that during gameplay, you know, random explosions can happen and so on and so forth, but for the most part my experiences on both machines indicate that the PS4 has a very slight disadvantage in frame rate when it comes to the single player campaign. With multiplayer, however, it's a completely different story, and it's not really worth even looking so much at in-depth analysis of it, because for the most part the two are pretty interchangeable just based on the multiplayer carnage that's going on. Both pretty much cling to 60 FPS for dear life unless there's a ridiculous amount of damage going on screen. And therefore the Xbox One's advantage is for the most part rendered inert when it comes to the multiplayer aspect. In other words, the title has been optimized primarily for the maps on multiplayer in mind, so basically there's not that much of a performance deficit between either system. The usual suspects, of course, do cause frame rate drops. Large explosions, particle effects, and so on and so forth definitely cause the frame rate to dip, but it's nothing too bad at all, and it doesn't really affect your gameplay that much. Even the high 40s / low 50s, which you do occasionally see on both systems, isn't that much to write home about because the frame rate does quickly pick back up. I have noticed that on both systems. So overall, if you are looking for a single player campaign experience, the Xbox One has a slightly higher frame rate, slightly inferior resolution and so on, and of course vice versa for the PS4. With multiplayer, then the two are pretty much interchangeable in terms of frame rate, but the PS4 does have the slight resolution advantage as we've discussed previously. If you need more information, please do go ahead and click on the article in the video's description, and hopefully you'll find this video somewhat informative. With that said, take care and bye for now.